I'm angry at AT&T, and I'm disappointed in the action that was taken in 2006 to permit this facility. I don't like it. I don't know why it was done. But I feel like it's trapped us into a box, and there's not a lot we can do. I think Ms. Wright spoke very eloquently about the need for a plan going forward, and I thank her for suggesting the joint venture group. I can't direct staff by myself, but for whatever it's worth, it's certainly my thought that we should pursue that and see if there are some best practices out there that we can apply, some help we can get from that group in finding less intrusive solutions in the future. AT&T, I hope I've made myself clear that I don't like what you did. I don't think it's fair in this community or any community, regardless of whether you had the right to do it or not. I just think it's a bad practice to slap things up without at least notifying the city and trying to go through the permit process. Sounds like that's not going to happen again. I hope it doesn't.
I rarely sit up here angry. And I'm angry that I'm being put in this spot, that the city is being put in this spot. The pole was put up without permission in 2005 and then post hoc legalized. From a legal perspective, that may be okay. From a moral perspective, that's unacceptable. And then, my ire is intensified when I find out that the state and the federal government limit what I can do about this. Right? It's considered a utility by the state. The FCC says, well, if it's existing, which it was made existing in 2006, they can do what they want to it within certain parameters. I think the pole should be removed. I do not think that it meets Belmont's zoning ordinances, specifically the one 1151A, the location of the proposed use is compatible to other land uses in the general neighborhood. I couldn't find another cell pole. I didn't drive every street, but I could not find another basically telephone pole or utility pole with an entire cell infrastructure mounted on it in the city. I could find large power poles along Ralston. I could find the PCB capacitors on poles, but I couldn't find a cell site anywhere. And so I don't think it's compatible at all, but I feel handcuffed by the 2012 Middle Class Jobs Relief Act. And what that implies, it implies that if we continued this for 60 days and did nothing, they could go out and work on the pole. It's approved, was approved in 2006, and they would have every right to do that. We could challenge them, but I'm pretty sure we would lose. So, I really have trouble making the findings for this, but I don't feel like we have a lot of wiggle room on this.
Well, I'm frustrated. I don't know if I'm not angry, but it's frustrating that in doing the research and looking back at, it was approved in 2006. Then the city found out in 2010 that there were existing boxes, and then going through the process from that point forward to try to bring it back into compliance. And, when I met with the city attorney to discuss what our options were, and we are handcuffed. We're in a position where, that's why I asked the question, what if we do nothing and deny it? It stays the way it is, and then they could add more if they want. There are things that they're going to be able to do that they are federally given the right to do, and we can't really do a whole.
I think if I look at where we are today and where we can be, I think we're better off approving this than not approving this. It takes a pretty miserable condition and just makes it bad from a visual standpoint. And I think that's about all.
Leaves me. And so much I want to say, and there's some things that are outside the bounds of what we're allowed to in terms of what we can judge this on. So I have my own feelings about some things. The citizens are talking about that they want the cell coverage and they want the data. But they want good neighbors, a good business to work with. And we were asking questions of Mark, the representative from Attc. And he stood here and said, we'll try to work with you. One of the things I do in high school is I teach life skills and I teach about body language. Eric, you talked about, excuse me, Vice Mayor, you talked about being angry. Guys, a bit of advice. If you're listening to the council, you're not cleaning your nails, you're not texting on the phone, you're looking at us and you pay attention to us. Act like you care. Because you didn't. That's some free advice. If you're going to tell us you're going to work with us and then you could care less what we say, that sends a bad message to me. And it makes me not want to approve it, but that's not what I can do. That's not the legal basis. Perhaps you can carry that back to your bosses and let them know how you responded. Or maybe I'll just call them or send a letter. What I think that the residents want is a good neighbor to work with, and that means what they say. And not because they're forced to, but because, I've been taught it makes good business sense if you work with your customers and you listen to them. Not because legally you have to. Maybe I'm old school, maybe, the Nordstroms stand out because they give customer service and everyone else could care less, and that you have someone who's on the phone and you can barely get attention. But I guess I'm in a different generation. I believe you have to listen. I don't think you were. I don't like hiding behind cryptic language. I don't like hiding behind things that appear to look like you're saying something and don't really mean it. I don't want you to consider. I don't want you to think. I don't want you to entertain. What I'd like you to do is work with us. If I was in the neighborhood, I wouldn't want all that crud on a pole in front of my house. There's some other things, like I said, legally I can't say because they're outside the bounds. But I can find, I'm not happy about it, but I can find for it. And I like what the speaker said. I like what the council said. And you have my full support on putting something on the priority calendar to talk about having a comprehensive look at wireless so that we can engage in conversations. You're absolutely right. Whoever said, the character of the community is important. I'll leave it.